Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report on a Saturday morning, last Saturday of the Saratoga season. A couple of nice stakes today, and of course, Jockey Club Gold Cup tomorrow, and around the country, lots of good stakes action as well. Kentucky Downs, Del Mar, so it should be a fun Saturday. It's a great morning here, weather-wise, sunny, comfortable temperatures, a little cool, but very nice. And as you see, it's not my usual co-host, Anthony Mormino. He's attending a wedding that he couldn't make the excuse for the wife to get out of, but we're happy to be joined this morning by our friend Pete Fornatale in the Money Media and Beyond. Pete, good morning.
Good morning to you. A wedding on Labor Day weekend with Kentucky Downs, Saratoga, and Del Mar going on. Who do these people think they are?
Who does that? I'm right with you there. But again, a nice morning here, and horses are clearly enjoying it. There goes one of the bond horses. We've had horses working out behind us all morning. I think they love it, this kind of weather.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You see the pep in the step.
Yeah. And again, this morning there's a little nip in the air, but by this afternoon I am expecting temperatures to be very nice. And it looked like the remainder of the weekend's going to be nice as well, right through Monday.
This is what I call proper Saratoga weather.
Absolutely.
I remember this especially coming up here, a few decades ago. You could really count on this the last couple of weeks of the meet. You can get the fire going in the morning if you want. You can throw on a sweater, but it'll be t-shirt and shorts in the backyard by the middle of the afternoon. Can't wait for what really promises to be an amazing day of racing.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And speaking of sweater, don't forget tomorrow, the last giveaway of the season. It's the quarter zip, which the one giveaway that really appealed to me. So I think a lot of folks are going to jump in for that. Right up here with paid admission while supplies last. So keep that in mind, the quarter zip giveaway up here tomorrow. Don't forget also, we had Ray and Jay on the other day. The last low rollers is tomorrow as well. So come up and take your shot on that. Also, again, that's tomorrow, Sunday, but today a nice day of racing. We'll hit on it in a few, but before we do that, your thoughts, because the news came out, and I thought it was kind of interesting, the timing. We knew it was coming here in New York, but penny breakage, and it starts Monday.
That's basically my reaction.
Yeah.
Rah, rah. This is great news. This is money that it doesn't seem like a lot, right? Oh, well, they round it to the dime. Well, I'll tell you what, over time, it becomes an incredibly important increase in takeout, essentially, money that's now being given back where it belongs into the fists
And
of
we'll
the players.
churn back into the,
And it helps the industry too.
It's going
right?
to make a big difference. There's no question about it. And I'm kind of wondering now, Kentucky's been doing it for a while, and I'm kind of wondering, with two of the major racing jurisdictions now doing it, is it just inevitable that everybody jumps in?
I'd like to think that in racing, it can be slow when it comes to change. But when you see industry leaders taking a bold step, having success with it, hopefully others will see and follow.
Yeah, I got my fingers crossed. And it seems like, as I say, with Kentucky and New York now both going to it, it seems like other jurisdictions, I think, are at least going to have their arm twisted to take a serious look. So we'll see how it works out over the next year or so. But it starts Monday here at Saratoga, the last day of Saratoga. But we knew it was coming. I was kind of surprised they plugged it in Monday. I was thinking it would start when they went downstate, but it'll be fun to see the $7.61 win payoff up here at Saratoga.
Good news for all the show parlays out there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I alluded to it a few minutes ago. Pete, it's a big day up here at Saratoga. Obviously, Labor Day weekend, always a lot of fun. Jockey Club Gold Cup tomorrow. But there are a couple of nice races around the country and undercard stakes as well. But first up, let's talk a little bit about Pacific Classic today at Del Mar. It's going to be race number 10, $1 million. Nysos in here. Fierceness going across country to take the shot. That's very intriguing for Pletcher and Rapoli. And journalism, if journalism should win this race, it'll have reverberations up here, because I think it's going to just really flatter sovereignty. What are your thoughts on the Pac Classic?
One of the key points you just made. This is going to give us a real chance to understand the relative quality between the generations here. These 3-year-olds that look so extraordinary to the eye in terms of the clock, but how are they going to really do when they face older horses? We'll have a major clue tonight. And set your alarm, because you might be in the middle of dinner. You might be done with dinner. 9:11 Eastern is the scheduled post time of this Pack Classic. And I'm going to go with the pet theory I've had since as far back as May, that these truly are a special group of 3-year-olds. I think journalism is going to pass this test with aplomb, but it isn't going to be easy. We know what Fierceness can do on his best. He's a serious runner when he gets a good situation. Nysos, Baffert talks about him in the most glowing terms possible. He still has to answer the question about distance. Will he get the 1.25 miles? But he's clicked every other box and looks very, very serious as well. Wagering-wise, it's hard to separate all three, but I'm going to row in with journalism and hope I'm right about these 3-year-olds.
Yeah, and Nysos is a very good older horse now, 4-year-old for Bob Baffert, 5 wins and 6 starts. But as you say, until the last start, the San Diego, he'd never gone well, the mile, I suppose, the Bob Lewis, but
yes,
a mile is a mile as compared to a 1.25 miles. And the San Diego last time, 1 1/16 miles. So the 1.25 miles today is a big question mark for him. Of course, Fierceness passed that question up here with the great Trav, with one of the most memorable Travers last year with Torpedo Anna in there. But yeah, that's a big question for Nysos. You'll have to answer it today.
What are you thinking? Who's going to win?
I was bouncing all over the place.
It's that kind of race.
But I wound up going between journalism and Fierceness because Nysos does have to answer that question still. And I was kind of with you. I'm going with journalism just because I kind of would like to see Sovereignty flattered and see these 3-year-olds head into the fall and head into the Breeders' Cup with some real momentum. And I think it'll be very interesting. But I think Fierceness, that they took the option to ship out there when they could have stayed here. They have options here as well, too, obviously. But that says a lot as well. So Fierceness, it scares me, but I'm tilting slightly towards journalism on his home court, essentially, out there for Mike McCarthy. I think it's going to be a fun race, no question about it.
The Breeders' Cup Classic is shaping up to be one of the great ones. I mean, you see the depth and quality of this field. You take a look. You'll be talking about this a lot more tomorrow, but the Jockey Club Gold Cup, you think about the international participation we might get. I mean, look, I don't want to wish away the autumn. It's my favorite season, but it's going to be a hell of a race there on November 1st.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. No question about it. And then at Kentucky Downs today, they're just throwing up $3.5 million in the Nashville Derby, going 1 mile and 5/16 on the turf on their quirky course. And you put up this kind of money, and who shows up? A horse like Burnham Square, who has never tried the turf before, comes out of a 5th in the Haskell. Tistastic is going to be a little bit interesting off the 2 turf races most recently, but they weren't great starts, but had a little promise earlier in the career. Sandman tries the turf today for the Big Price Final Gambit. Test Score to me is maybe the most interesting one, or the one I'm maybe tilting towards for Grand Motion. Won the Belmont Derby up here at Saratoga, and then ran a very close up third last time in the Saratoga Derby Hill Road. There's a number in here, I kind of alluded to it with Test Score, that are coming off last start right up here at Saratoga. So again, Kentucky Downs today, Nashville Derby, another interesting race on the Saturday.
I'm not exaggerating when I say it took about 4 hours to do this Kentucky Downs card. I did a write-up over at the website, inthemoneypodcast.com, of all the races. None more interesting than this Nashville Derby. So cool to see so many horses from the Kentucky Derby itself and the Derby Trail turning up. I'm trying to be a little contrarian, going to go in the direction of the ones I think are more proper turf horses. I've got Test Score in the mix. I've got the Invader, who I saw run at Ascot back in June, Wimbledon Hawkeye in the mix. But my top pick is Simulate in there, who I think is a little bit sneaky. Thought was a bit against the flow of things in the Secretariat down at Colonial Downs, and should get at least an even, if not a fast pace to run at here. Great grass pedigree. And I think when you get those really proper old school turf pedigrees, you sometimes see them move up at Kentucky Downs. It's such a demanding course. So I'm going to try to mess around with Test Score and Wimbledon Hawkeye and Simulate in there.
Yeah, as I said, I'm tilting a little towards Test Score, but I looked at Simulate. I think this is, with lightly raced, an up-and-comer maybe for Bill Mott. And, as I'm looking down, when you look at the races today at Saratoga, you will see some of the jockeys will not be participating. Manny Franco down there on Test Score. Alvarado on Simulate, Rosario on Tistastic, Jose Ortiz, who when they interviewed him after one of the races last week, he said, I'd love to stay here and vie for the title, but I have to do what I have to do. And given that his, 4-win day, couple days, I understand it, given the money down there. Irad, though, will be down as well. He is pretty much vying for the title and continuing up here, except for today when they put up $3.5 million, Luis Saez. And as I looked at the jockeys here at Saratoga today, there were a couple coming up from Gulfstream.
Yeah, but do not make the mistake of looking at the Saratoga PPs today and seeing your favorite rider off and thinking that's a negative. Yeah, a lot of the boys out of town riding for those millions there. Still an amazing card here. But, we have yet to solve this being in two places at once thing. Once we get that done, we're really going to have something.
Or the Star Trek transporter.
Yes,
where
you could beam me up, Scott.
Yeah, you could do the 8th down there and the 9th up here. Yeah, we'll see when that actually happens. Let me give you a little update on what's coming up here at Capital OTB. Today, the Bounty Bet returns. Don't forget, if you pulled up the promo sheet, King of the Hill was scheduled for today, but that wrapped up last week because somebody hit it. And it's kind of a long-running kind of a contest. So we hit it last week. That means it's King of the Hill at the Clubhouse Racebook. Not today, but it'll come back right around Breeders' Cup season. But the Bounty Bet is live today. Play it with your Capital OTB bet. The late pick 5. Take a shot at that bounty to be added if you hit the pick 5. Tomorrow, Syndicate will play their pick 5. We wish them a lot of luck. The team has been selected, but also down at the Clubhouse Racebook tomorrow, the Knockout Challenge. You can have a little extra fun at the Clubhouse Racebook tomorrow. That's 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Coming up, I was about to say the top of the hour. I'm so used to that, but actually the bottom of the hour, since we have the early start today. And thanks for tuning in a little bit earlier. Well, again, with an early 12:05 post time here at Saratoga. Keep that in mind. So we will kick off racing across America at 9:30. Callie Francois will join us. She was out on the backstretch last couple of days. Talked to Miguel Clement about runners coming up this weekend. And then we'll also be joined by Tom Morley, who had a really good day yesterday. Wins the Bernard Baruch, his Atfield, beats the fastest horse in the world in Schwarzenegger. And that was an emotional victory for the Morley team. We'll talk a little bit about that. And he's got one coming up tomorrow down at Kentucky Downs in the Stakes. We'll hit on that and more with Tom. All of that, again, bottom of the hour at 9:30. But right now, we'll send it to the play of the day. Before we do that, play of the day today is our friend Kevin Cox. Congratulations to Kevin yesterday. It's bittersweet for me to talk about this because he hit his play yesterday with Stick Up Without a Gun at a nice price. Well, the first start for Stick Up Without a Gun, that one was my dark horse play of the day, and did not do anything. And the second start for Ken McPeak fires, and I'm off. But thankfully, Kevin was on for the players, and so it was a nice hit for Kevin. Nice score for the everybody part of the play of the day team. And again, congratulations to Kevin. I saw he tweeted out the 4th straight year he's had a positive ROI with the DePaula play of the day. So again,
not easy.
A nice hit by Kevin yesterday for the team. We'll see if he can do it again today. Here it is, today's DePaula play of the day.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with your Capital OTB DePaula play of the day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course on Labor Day weekend. We've been giving you our plays of the days on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we've been basing our success on 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager for the bankroll team. And after showing a flat bet profit in doing this the first 3 years, we have 2 swings left this weekend, yesterday and today, to get the Grand Slam. Our play of the day today will be in race 9, number 10, Solo Shot. We feel this filly is better than one may think at first glance. The adjusted speed figure in an identical placement last time out was a 77.1, and that came when being fanned 9 wide in the field of just 10 other competitors. and did such to the tune of 45-1 odds. For a point of reference, the favorite in this race is coming in off an adjusted 79.8, just 2.5 points higher, and had a dream trip that afternoon. Additionally, this one has ascended the buyer scale in her last triad, and that includes a troubled trip versus stakes foes 2 back. So who really knows where her ceiling is in that regards? We love playing those who lost by less than half of their finishing placement in lengths, and this one fell short by just a length and 3/4 when finishing 6th last time out. We've gotten some good value on this angle over the years, and will likely be overlooked once again today. But wait, there's more. According to DRF Formulator, Lolita is a lovely 3 of 8 with turf sprinting females off breaks of less than 56 days at 37-1 or beneath, with the winners coming back a juicy $30, $43, and $6. So once again, we're taking a solo shot on number 10 solo shot in race 9 for our Capital OTB DePaula play of the day from Saratoga. Thank you very much for following all summer. Look forward to seeing you down the road, or at the very least at the track today.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Again, Seth Merrow and Pete Fornatale sitting in for Anthony Mormino this morning. And good luck to Kevin Cox with his last shot play of the day. The next couple will be Steve Bick. So we will see what the pot winds up to be. But again, it has grown. Everybody's going to get a nice little chunk of money when the season winds up. We have 3 more shots to add to that. And Pete, as I said, I was a little bit, I had bittersweet emotions after. I was glad Kevin hit. I was glad somebody hit with the horse yesterday.
Well, he does such a good job, Kevin, who I've known for decades hanging out up here. And he laid out the handicapping case with all the form and figure reasons why that horse was going to bounce back and win. But he left out a very important handicapping angle in his little spiel. Seth off.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought exactly of that. I thought, well, good for him. That he picked up on that. Yeah, no question about it. All right, ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right, the opener today up here at Saratoga, one of those restricted maiden special events, restricted to auction price. They will go 6 furlongs. In the opener for me, I had a 2, 3, 9, and 4. I thought the 6 was maybe a little bit interesting as well. 2 ducks, if you're on that one, I wouldn't talk you off. But I went with Nay Baby on top. Took a little action in the debut for Jeremiah, and ran okay. Third, well beaten third, but as I say, did take a little bit of action. Omaha Beach on top. There's some win early breeding. There wasn't anything in this group that absolutely jumped out at me, so I'm going to tilt there again off the fact that the horse at 7-2 got a little bit of a look in the debut and ran okay. Second spot, I'll go with Imagine John. I like that they came off the third in the debut effort and went right to the Sanford. They got ambitious there, which says to me they have some high hopes for this horse. Then they came back in a race just like this, and third, but a pretty well-beaten third, but by Bobrovsky, who I think is an okay runner. So that may be a race that was a little saltier than it maybe appeared to be, being a restricted maiden special. So I'll go back to Imagine John, and then jolted in the third spot with Beckman trainee that I like the top pick, ran okay in debut, and at 8-1 took a little bit of action in a field of 8. And, experience counts, and with this one with that under the belt, I thought one to build on. Ken McPeak as a firster in here, French Knight, who is interesting as well. Again, I think there's nothing for me jumping off the page. So 2, 3, 9, and 4. Pete?
A lot of ways you can go in here for sure. It's interesting. We ended up on a couple of the same ones. I'm with Jolted. I thought that was a solid debut race, and I like the shape of that race. Looking at race level by level, how fast do they go to the pace call? How fast do they go to the final for the final time? And I thought that was what you call a fast race shape. Blinkers go on here. The recent workout was good, presumably with that new equipment. And Beckman's just a trainer I'm very interested in and quietly done very well at the meet. Your top pick, Nay Baby, makes a lot of sense to me. I can't make the case any better than you did. Bet hard in another race that had kind of a fast shape to it. And everybody talks about how great Jeremiah is with the first-time starters. Well, his percentages are even better with the second-time starters. So Nay Baby has license to improve. One that you didn't mention that I'll put in a word for is the 7 Waiting on a Sunny Day. Not just a Bruce Springsteen hunch play. This one I thought ran okay on debut to an impressive winner and did not break well in there. And the other thing I like about this one, going through the pedigree of the dam's other foals, plenty of them have improved a lot second out. Maybe Waiting on a Sunny Day can do the same.
Yeah, who finished in front of Imagine John. As I say, they both come out of that race that Bobrovsky won. So I looked at Waiting on a Sunny. I didn't even pick up on the Springsteen angle. I'm a big Springsteen fan.
No.
One thing I didn't mention when I talked about, because I did mention the Kenny McPeak horse in this first race. I didn't mention Stick Up Without a Gun. That was a Kenny McPeak second-time starter, but it was a Kenny McPeak runner owned by Harold Lerner. We had both of them in here yesterday. I don't know if you know Harold's story where he was a horse racing fan, just a regular guy, and he hits the lottery years ago that at the time was like the 6th biggest lottery, and now he's jumped in and owned horses and was part of Eskimo Kisses, who went on to win the Grade 1 Alabama. I mean, it's just a fun story. And I asked him yesterday, how many times did you have to check the ticket? He said he and his wife were sitting there. She's reading off the numbers. He's looking at the ticket. Yeah, we got that one. We have that one. We have that one. And then and then he said, so then we looked again. And then he said, then we went upstairs and our computer looked at the lottery. And I thought I would do exactly the same thing, because, the worst feeling would be, hey, I think I won whatever it was, $500 million or something. And then you find out, the newspaper printed the wrong numbers.
Oh my God. Yeah. Even today, you hit it, you get excited, but there's that extra little bit of juice when you're on your Capital OTB account and you click refresh after the race and the money is in the balance. That's when I fully say, okay, now we got it.
Yeah. When it's perfectly verified. I agree. All right. But it was fun to see the two of them on the show yesterday, and then they get the victory a little bit later on with the nice price. Second race today. They're on the turf, state bred maiden specials, 8.5 furlongs to trip. Pete, how'd you see race 2?
So this is one where we really need the late scratches to fully design our early double, because you got 2 horses on the AEs that are going to catch a lot of money. I was inclined to try to be a little bit of a wise guy and beat them anyway, but I just do want to mention, that you have to take a look at this one after scratches for absolutely sure, as you always do. But I was going to go with a bit of a price on top. The 6, Truman's Commander, another one. When they catch money first time out, I really take note of that, because it's sort of a proxy for having a good clocker report almost. And then if they don't break well, I'm even more inclined to forgive it, because maybe they were being bet because they have speed and then couldn't show it. There was trouble thereafter as well. Feels like these bloodlines should work going long on turf. I like the Warfront Smart Strike cross. I think this is an interesting horse, 10-1 on David Aragona's morning line, but that's obviously going to be quite changeable depending on what happens with the scratches with these horses that might draw in. But I think this horse, in any case, is going to be a backable price. The 8, Twirling Lad, I thought was interesting. Some turf blood there as well. Showed speed in the debut, and that could be helpful in a spot like this. Adding blinkers for a crafty trainer I've seen succeed with both these kind of moves before. Dirt to turf in the second start, and adding blinkers for start 2. Horacio De Paz, very shrewd, and this is an interesting horse. The other De Paz, time to roll for my friends at Delphi Racing Club, a club that I'm proud to be a member of. The Dam and the sibling one first out. I know they like the horse. It's a tricky draw for a first-time starter especially, but I'm not getting beaten by this one. And in any case, I'm going to watch with great interest and probably be backing next time.
I'm with the Adelphi runner. We had Rich Cristiano in earlier from Adelphi. I've been trying to get Matt the whole season. Every time I get him, he got something going. And he was taking his kid to a play date one day, which I totally get up at Saratoga. But we were trying to get Matt on, and he's the major domo of Adelphi. And, they're a nice group, and it's fun to see when they get together. It's always fun, these partnerships. You see them out in the paddock and kind of watching on the big screen, watching the races when they get – and then even more fun when they get into the winners.
Oh, yeah. We got one of those from last year. The Gem Mint 10 winners picture hangs proudly in my Saratoga kitchen. And it was one of – I've been coming here a long time, and that was absolutely one of my favorite days at Saratoga ever, and it came courtesy of Matt Couture and Adelphi Racing Club.
Has to be a favorite day. But I'm looking for the winner's circle today. I put Time to Roll on top. 10, the one entry, 6 and 3. And again, there's 1A there. It's just that's how our chicklets go. I'm using the one entry because the 1A is Jaxer, who would be interesting to me if that one got in. But what are we, 5 deep on the A year? That one's not going to get in. I do think the number 11, you kind of alluded to it, Jack's World. That one's interesting for Linda Rice. That's 1 deep on the A. So as you say, if scratches, pull that one and take a look at the 11. But I put Time to Roll on top. I totally agree. The post position is the knock here. And that may be against us, particularly in the first start of the career. But not this time. I don't
Great
have
first down.
Yeah, I do not have to talk too much about not this time, given what we've seen so far. But 18% with 2-year-old first-time starters. Good numbers there. The dam produced so far a lone sibling, Rule 62, that won the career debut. This one is working okay. I think could be live in debut at a little bit of a price. So on Time to Roll on top. Again, the plane one, Coach Ryan. Slumber is okay with first-time starters. Not spectacular, but okay. It's Chad Brown, who is very good with first-time starters. And so I think this one could be a little bit live with a little bit of breeding and a trainer who can have them ready. And then Trupin's Command in the 3rd spot for Mark Cassie, as you say, took some action on debut, but comes out of a race that was won by Lawyer Mason. We will talk about that one later with Tom Morley. Lawyer Mason is going in a stake at Kentucky Downs tomorrow. So maybe this was a nice race, that flatters horses that were a little bit behind in there. So we'll look for that one. The number 3 for Carlos David has a little bit of breeding that win early breeding. Hasn't quite lived up to it yet, but has run okay. Fun race. One of the, fun 2-year-old races you see up here at Saratoga. 10, the 1 entry, 6 and 3. All right, move on to race number 3, state bred optional claimers, non-winners at 2 other than. I'm 3, 5, 6, and 4. Trust Fund on top. Comes out of a couple of nice races that the horse closed into kind of fast paces. They hit the 3/4 in 109 and change. I'm curious as to what we're going to get. I think there are a couple of horses that do have early speed in here. I'm not sure it's going to be quite that fast. So I went back and forth and almost tilted towards one of the horses with speed, hoping that maybe they can kind of pull away and not duel on the front end. But I wound up going with Trust Fund in the good form when most recently seen. That was in May and June, so there's a little bit of a layoff, but it's Todd Pletcher. I think the horse will run well. Kendrick Carmouche on board. He's been having a very good meet, and again, some of the big guns are out of town, so look for guys like Kendrick to perhaps have a big day. Second spot, What's Up Bro, Mike Maker trainee, off the claim. Claimed away, however, from Linda Rice, but the race that this horse was claimed out of was a nice win. Nice front-end win. Again, this was one of the speeds that I thought, I might be able to land there, but again, went in a different direction. Owned by Flying P. Jay, of course, as the meet winds up, he's going to be taking his shots. Jay Provenzano and Sheriff Bianco in the 3rd spot. This one gets a class dip for Linda Rice. Class dip and a cutback in distance that I think could be very beneficial. So for me, in the 3rd, 3, 5, 6, and 4.
We are in lockstep here, my friend. And I also went back and forth trying to figure out exactly what this pace scenario is going to be. I did end up thinking that Trust Fund would have enough pace to run at to set up this late run under Kendrick, who's done such a good job timing these last 2 wins, and I think is going to be a pleasing price as well. I think the educated guess of 9-2 on the morning line was enough to make me go in that direction, as opposed to the 5, who you also mentioned, What's Up Bro, who I do think is a clear opportunity to be the best speed. Looking at those internal fractions last time, this horse, you can probably mark up that final figure even a little bit, given how fast this one ran, and it already stacks up well with these. First off, the claim for Maker, not easy to improve him off Linda Rice, but somebody like Maker does such a good job, generally speaking, off the claim, that I was okay making that supposition. And then speaking of Linda Rice, we got the old pro in here, the 7-year-old Sheriff Bianco, another one who I think will be coming from a bit off the pace. And this one has some excuses in the recent running lines. I thought some slow paces trying to close into. If this does shake up to be a faster pace, maybe Dylan Davis can have this one positioned in a way to make a late run and come in and fill out some exotics at least, if not get the whole thing. So yeah, hopefully we're right. because we're going to win or lose together in this one.
Very good. And Sheriff Bianco, as you say, the old pro, 7 years old, over $800,000 in the bank. You love the war horses out here on the track. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more from the Saturday card at Saratoga. Stay tuned.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Again, Pete Fornatale sitting in for Anthony Mormino, Seth Merrow in my usual spot. And we are all in our usual spot in front of Clare Court, which has had some activity behind us today. Always fun. And as I say, in a cool morning like this, the horses really seem to be eating it up. And hopefully we're all eating it up this afternoon, handing out winners like candy. That's going to be the game plan, and we'll try to continue that. With race number 4, optional claimer, non-winners of 2 other than. They're going to go 5.5 on the grass. Pete, how'd you see the 4th?
I was really interested in the 6 runner in this spot, Set, who I see is your top pick as well. A couple things I really like about this one. Versatility in terms of running style for the son of Oscar Performance. Has won on the lead, it was technically a nose defeat, but I look at a nose defeat as basically a win, and ran very well from off the pace, 2 starts back. There's not a lot of speed here. I would imagine maybe a runner like the 7 will try to go and make the running, but Set, I think in either case is going to be could potentially make a move for the lead or be just off the lead. But the other thing I really like about Set is looking at the sectional times, the fractions of this one's races, can finish a race. And so if you can be in a good attacking position and you can finish, that's a horse I'm going to want to have on some tickets. I was also very interested in the 2 bonus move for Mark Hennig, horse that just really I thought fit when it comes to figures and form in this spot, and hopefully won't be too far back. Maybe a little bit lost early last time, but looking at some of the other races, chance to be in the hunt when the real running starts, as it were. And I was going to round things out with number 1, Final Verdict in this spot. Nothing particularly clever to say about this one, but in form and just fits in terms of the class level and the speed figures. So I had it 6, 2, and 1.
Right in the same ballpark. 6 on top. We're both there. I Set, 3rd start back. Improved performance, improved finishing position, start 1 to start 2 on the return this season. Number went backwards a little bit, but again, right in the same ballpark, and both numbers match up very nicely with this field. So 3rd start back, a couple of nice performances, should be set up well to run nicely again today. Final Verdict for me in the 2nd spot, and I agree with you, just seems to be in some good form right now, nothing super clever. The numbers are right in the ballpark of the top pick. Clearly on a best effort, they're right there with the top pick, but this horse being in good form, had to throw that one in. And then I used credit worthy. It's Chad Brown and Klarovich. I'm always looking at their runners up here. And if you go to that off the turf for 2 back, if we get back to that, this horse becomes very dangerous. Last time kind of clunked a little bit, but had some excuses there. I wouldn't be surprised to see credit worthy better my rating, but I have it 6-1, 5, and 7. In the 5th race, we are coming out of the mile chute for this one. These are state-bred optional claimers, non-winners, the 2 other than. For me, 3, 6, the 1 entry, and 2. I'm going to put Scythian on top with trepidation. Comes back off a long layoff, not seen since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf last year. That was not a spectacular effort, obviously, but the races just before that say this is a horse with some real talent for Bill Mott. Now, why the layoff until this point of the year? And I debated, and then I looked at the last couple of workouts, and I said, you know what? I think she's coming back on her toes. Has a good post position coming out of the mile chute. So I'm going to tilt slightly and tepidly, with some trepidation towards Scythian. Embraceable Gal in the second spot, obviously more recency than the top pick, and ran very well last time at 7. Ran a mile 2 back down at Aqueduct and ran a close-up second. So comes in off of 2 near misses. So very good form recently for Embraceable Gal. And as I say, the 1 entry, Swedish Princess and Malou. I don't know whether I prefer one over the other. Malou off the latest effort, the number was pretty good, but that was back in April. And the Swedish Princess was claimed and moves into the Linda Rice barn, but was claimed back in April. So they both have a little bit of a layoff to overcome, but they both look like on best efforts, they probably belong in the mix. And I would think, trained by Linda Rice, they'll come back ready to roll in the 5th. 3, 6, the 1 entry, and 2.
For me, I'm really interested in these races out of the chute in speed. And I think Kali Magic should be able to get a clear lead here. So I was going to try to get this as a pace angle with a horse that should be a good price. So I went to that one on top for just that very simple reason. I think on the best form that she's shown, if she can get an advantageous situation, might be able to be seen to a really good effect in this spot. I also thought that the 2 Tough Street was worth a mention. This one will be coming from further back off the pace, but it could be the kind of thing where Kali Magic, just looking at a pace map in here, could kind of, even if alone on the lead, still set this up for an off-the-pace run. And I was torn between Tough Street and Scythian, and Tough Street has that recency. I mean, it wasn't a particularly impressive race, but just having one off the long layoff, I feel like you can make a case that she's supposed to go forward here.
Back numbers in a class drop also I'm attracted to that. I looked at that one.
Yeah, that's it as well. But Scythian, as you mentioned, based on the potential she showed last year, she has improved from the kind of figure she was running in the 2-year-old year. This is the one moving up on the come, potentially very progressive profile. I just thought, I'm not going to lose to this horse, especially when, as you point out, the workouts are telling you ready to make an impact right off the bench.
All right, we will move on to a race number 6 this afternoon. We're looking at maiden specials. These are 2-year-olds. They will travel 7 furlongs.
Accost, I thought, was very interesting in here, the 3-runner. And this one will give you a line on some form for the hopeful on Monday as well, because this race didn't have a lot of runbacks, or hasn't had many runbacks yet. But I like the way Accost finished up to Soldier and Diplomat, who we'll see again a little bit later this weekend. This horse just has that sitting on a win look to me, and I wasn't going to overcomplicate things in this spot. The Danny Gargan first are talking. The 4, he can get one ready, certainly. This is good blood, and this horse just seemed like one that, if I'm wrong about Accost, or if something goes wrong this time, one that I wanted to keep on side. We'll get further clues looking in the paddock and seeing how they bet, talking as well. And then Super Caliber was one almost by default, just in the idea that the 7 furlongs, it can be tricky, maybe having that longer experience on the turf and then turning back can just help bring this one forward. Did stick on a bit late in the turf race and maybe can do the same here to round out an exacta or a try. But this is one where I have Accost up here and the other 2 a level below that.
I'm Accost on top as well. It's Chad Brown with a near miss in the debut effort, as you say. The winner coming back in a stake says something also. So I'm going to tilt towards the Chad Brown runner in the second start, having just missed with a number that's pretty good. 2-year-olds this time of year, a group like this. Second spot, I'll go with Super Caliber. Obviously a Live Oak Plantation runner, with super being spelled with an O, with the Campbell's Soup folks there. and a Mark Tassi trainee. Mark's having a very good meet. I found it intriguing, the cutback and turf to dirt. Nice workout coming in. Sibling Dennis's moment, 7th in debut, and then won the next 2 starts. So this one may live up to the older sibling as well. And as I mentioned earlier, we're seeing, because some of the big guys are out of town, Jaramillo comes up from Florida to take him out in here today. So that was intriguing. And Stradale, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, they paid over $1 million for this horse. And Bai Yaupan, who very good with win early types, obviously, took a lot of action in the debut, ran 3rd. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Asmussen runner run very well today. To me, maybe the one to beat off of that whole scenario. The big price taking action in debut, having a little bit of trouble in the debut, but still running an okay 3rd. So we'll see what the one does.
All about the break for that one, right? From the rail at 7. If they get away
exactly
from there, they can win, but it so often can lead to some difficulty in the run.
Totally agree. 6 for me, 3, 7, 1, and 4. That'll lead us to our next break. We'll hop into that and come back in a couple of minutes and continue our look at Saturday. We're heading into some stakes action, so stay tuned. It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back. Seth Merrow, Peter Thomas Fornatale, in the Money Media and beyond, in for Anthony Mormino this morning as we continue our look at the Saturday card here at Saratoga with race number 7, the Prioress, Grade 3 event, $175,000 up for grabs for 3-year-old fillies, sprinting 6. I have a 3, 1, 5, and 2. I put Delightful Claire on top. I'm kind of master of the obvious. Phil Bauer, another pretty good meet with some limited starters up here, and that includes a win in the maiden breaker for this one with a solid 95 buyer. Obviously, this is a saltier spot to try stakes competition, but boy, given what we saw from her last time, if she backs that up, and that's the question mark, sometimes there's a little bit of an aberration, and when you do step into deeper waters, you get more of a reliable look perhaps, but I'll put that one on top, trusting that maybe she is kind of special given what we saw last time. Flat Out Time, lightly raced for George Weaver. We've talked about on the handicapping show a few times at this meet. The Delaware to New York move has been productive a few times at the meet so far, and this one makes that move for George Weaver. Went down to Delaware, got a nice win to run the record to 2 wins and 3 starts. Comes in with a bullet work today. Kendra Carmouche on board, so that one in the mix also. And then Long Neck Paula. This is a horse with plenty of stakes experience for Wesley Ward, including a near miss last time on Belmont Stakes weekend right up here. Long Neck Paula might wind up being the one to beat. I'm 3, 1, 5, and 2.
Once again, we're very, very similar. I'm a believer in the 3 Delightful Claire. The early returns on the form of that race are positive, and that was just a fast race. I think, as you said, there could be even more to come from this one. And then I was also seeing a scenario where, we talk so much about lone speed. Is there maybe a world in which flat out time is the lone closer, right? If you could see Delightful Claire hooking up with a long neck Paula, maybe this could set one up for a run from off the pace for a flat out time for our pals over at the Black Type Thoroughbreds and Swim Bank Racing. I definitely want to keep her on side on the podcast this week in the Money Players podcast. Mike Probozzi, who does such a great job for us, Mikey P, we call him around there. He made a really compelling case for the two Rojo Rita as one who he thought might be able to handle this surface switch and just continue to improve. If she does that, has to be considered a contender as well. So I had a 3, 1, and 2.
Yeah, I have no arguments against that too as well if you're going to shop around a little bit. 8th race this afternoon, maiden specials. They are vying for $100,000. 2-year-olds going 7. What you see in the 8th?
I like Dragones, the 6. Once again, we have the same top pick.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
this one, I mean, it's not a crazy complicated case, right? It's strong workouts, and it's a really good pedigree. You put those things together in a race like this, and it looks like a place where you might be able to plant a flag on this $1.7 million gun runner out of a good-looking dam as well. Dragones, for me, is going to set the standard for the race. But they're 2-year-olds, and if you want to spread around in some horizontal bets, I wouldn't blame you. I had a good note on French Quarter Note. 2 of the 4 siblings of that one won on debut. City of Light, very positive first out, as is Weaver. So French Quarter Note's going to be in my reckoning of the race as well. And then Grittiness is one that I wanted to make sure that I kept on side somewhere. That was a live-looking race. This one was in on debut. And I thought maybe got a little bit buried down on the inside in a place where didn't seem to be any advantage to be inside that day. And with this pedigree, there's a chance this one's going to even need farther. If you remember Coach Rocks, the Dam, and Curlin. So this is another one where I'll say I'm going to be including today, but I'm going to probably have a note for this one to think about again. And if any running is shown when going 2 turns, I'm going to probably try back again.
I'm 6, 9, 2, and 4. Yeah, Dragones on top. By Gunrunner this year, 53 first-time starters, 9 wins, 7 seconds, 4 thirds. So good numbers there on the sire. No surprise. The Dam has produced a couple of winners, but yeah, they paid $1.7 million. The horse is working legitimately. I'll put that one on top for Winchell and Asmussen. Then again, French Quarter Note, 10-1 on the morning line. I'm with you. City of Light, 14%. With 2-year-old first-time starters, decent number there. And yeah, there are 2 win early siblings. You Make Me Charlie won the career debut. Annex not only won the career debut, won the next 2 starts as well. Yeah. So the first 3. So I thought there was some win early top and bottom there. George Weaver can have them ready, and George having a very good Saratoga meet. And then for me, Our Magical Moon in the 3rd spot. The Mark Casse trainee showed some speed in the debut, going a mile on the turf. I kind of like the switch to dirt and a little cutback off of that kind of front-running try last time. I think he'll be dangerous. Capo de Tutti in the 3rd spot for me. And I mentioned local ownership with Big Dom Racing. Big Dom, we see down at the clubhouse racebook sometimes. But take a look at the Big Dom Silks where you see the pizza maker there, because Big Dom does make some pizzas. So siblings, Gina Serenade, sibling won career debut and overall was 4 for 6. So don't overlook the Danny Gargan run to the 4 as well. 6, 9, 2, and 4. All right, 9th race today. Allowance non-winners are 1 other than. They will go 5.5 on the grass. I'm 3, 4, 2, and 5. Going to put Tales of the Heart on top for Bill Mott. Came over from Europe and so far hasn't gotten it done in 4 starts. But it's one of those, sometimes I look at horses and I think, you know what, they're better than their record indicates. And this is one of those, I just think this one's maybe better than we've seen so far as the finishing positions. I'm going to look for Tales of the Heart to maybe break through today for Bill Mott and John Stewart's Resolute Racing. 2nd spot, Shoot It True. Relatively lightly raced runner from Wesley Ward, who switched to the turf last time and made the most of it and comes in with some really nice workouts for Wesley Ward. Shoot It True is going to be very dangerous in here. And then Girls Rock for the aforementioned Whit Beckman, coming in off a maiden breaker last time. That was in an off-the-turfer right here at Saratoga. But the 2 turf races before down in Kentucky were okay. So I think this one off the maiden breaker and getting back to the turf could be live as well today. 3, 4, 2, and 5.
I was team shoot it true here. This one, the Forerunner, looks like potentially the best overall, and I'm pretty sure is going to be the best speed, which you'll love to see. And I also love when a horse who has that potential to be the best speed has also shown the ability to pass, because it just gives another tactical option. But the real thing is just a visual impression as well that she made in the last run. I mean, just really looked like one that had more in the tank. Now, sometimes that can be deceiving, but when it lines up on numbers, I'll usually go in that direction. So I was going to, if you were doing horizontal tickets in the old school AB way, that would be my lone A in here. La Salvadorena is on here basically because she's been on my watch list for a long time. And some, like we were talking about before, the pain sometimes of getting off one that you've backed a number of times is a lot. But really, objectively, looking at this race in terms of the form, in terms of the figures, she's not really that far behind what a lot of these have done. And then the other one I wanted to keep on my tickets in some fashion was the 6, Gronka. I like when a horse shows they can win on the lead and when they show that ability to pass horses. She's done both of those things. And I thought there was an opportunity maybe for her to step up again in this third career start. So 4, 5, and 6 for me. But this is another one where it's the 4 and then the 5 and the 6 behind.
Yeah, you talk about getting off a horse. My married to story is probably decades old across the street. There was a horse over at the harness track called King Prom. And I was on King Prom, and I just could not divorce myself. And finally, the marriage paid off at like $2.80. So, like after I played the horse at decent odds for like 8 races, I finally break through it. Yeah, like $2. Oh, King Prom. So that taught me a lesson. I try not to stay too married, but again, yesterday it did not pay off for me in the dark horse play with stick up with that again. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That's what the game gives to us. The 10th race today, however, the Flower Bowl Grade 2 event, $500,000 up for grabs. They will go 1 mile and 3/8 on the grass.
Yeah, this is an exciting race for sure, and another one where you could tell some stories. But I ended up going towards the top of the market with La Mahana, a runner who I really marked up that Glen Falls run last time on yielding turf, primarily because this was a fast gallop, and it's not like she was letting other horses do the work and just making one run late. Had to have the ability to stick with that fast early gallop and then finish with that giant flourish. Now, sometimes you'll see that on yielding turf because some horses just don't handle it very well, but I just thought that looked like a real representative effort from La Mahana because she's run nearly that well on firm courses as well. And that run 2 back, I thought you could also mark up sort of for the opposite reason. The pace was slow there and she was far back and still found that late speed. I just thought that she might be able to be in a position when they're turning in where she's going to be able to show that late kick once again, and the others might not be able to match it. Having said that, there's others here you can certainly consider. Baletza is one who I think probably was a little bit more flattered by that race shape last time, being able to run late and maybe pass some tiring runners. But this is a horse that has some back races and some back form that I'm curious to see what she's going to do again on a firm turf course, because she won the first start in North America over it, and there's a chance there's just more under the hood. Obviously, when it comes to turf runners, Miguel Clement and the Clement team, this is a place where you'll just often see them continue to improve. So Baletza was one that certainly made sense to me. And then there was the scenario where maybe a horse like Be Your Best could just get loose in this spot. And if that's the case, this horse is talented and could certainly win. I'm not going to want to allow myself to get wired in this race, liking one that I think is going to be a stalker and one that I think is going to be a deeper closer. I'll take one I think is going to be on the front end. If nothing else, it'll make for a less stressful watch in the race.
4, 7, 8, and 1 for me. I thought the 3 long ago was playable in here as well for Bill Morey, but I'm like you went with Mahana. But I really went back and forth because that number last time clearly looks like an aberration. And so I looked and I thought, I'm going to go back. And I think the horse maybe comes back a little bit and still wins this race. but in the current form, we'll put La Mahina on top. Had Randy Sarr from LSU. I want to say it was right after this win. Steve and I had him on the Sunday morning show. He was fun to talk to. Be Your Best for me in the second spot, the Safi Joseph runner off a third last time in the Bev D down at Colonial. But overall, kind of tosses in races that I think mix it up very nicely with this particular group. And yeah, Beliza in the third spot. Same scenario. I think what this horse typically runs is right in the wheelhouse of this group, so should be a player in with this bunch today. For me, in the 10th, the Flower Bowl, 4, 7, 8, and 1. We'll take our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the Saturday card. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back. Let's jump in. The feature today, the Grade 1 Spin Away, $300,000, and traditionally one of the 2-year-old races to wind up the meet. This one for the girls, the hopeful coming up for the boys. But again, the girls face off going 7 furlongs. I have it 8, 4, 1, and 2. I'll put Tommy Joe on top. You know, I'm kind of master of the obvious, I suppose, here. The Pletcher runner just looks so good in debut with a solid performance and a solid numbers compared to these. There was a next out winner right behind this one. So I'll go in that direction. Tommy Joe on top. Mythical. It's hard to knock. You can't knock Mythical. 3 for 3 and 2 stakes races, one of them against the boys. And so she is clearly the one to beat, but it just seems like year in and year out, these kind, you jump on them in this season ender kind of a stake, going 7 furlongs, and they come down the stretch and somebody blows by. And so I thought this year I'll tilt slightly in a different direction. Odds-wise, I'm, a tick apart here. And odds-wise, David Aragona, in fact, has Tommy Joe just a tick ahead. So it's going to be interesting to see where the betting public goes, however, with a 3 for 3 stakes winner in the mix. And then in the third spot, the number 1, Chad Brown runner. Again, another one of a very, very good-looking debut effort, and could build on that and would be no surprise. I'm 8, 4, 1, and 2.
I wonder if some of David being fairly aggressive, and I think accurately so, on Tommy Joe has to do with Todd Pletcher's record in this race. He's won it 6 times, and he's got a real good chance to make it 7, because Tommy Joe absolutely dominated a very live-looking maiden heat with 2 next out winners. That 85 figure stacks up well, has shown the ability to pass. I love that. Won that race without a particularly good setup. This homebred was bred to be special, being by the superstar sire Into Mischief out of a Grade 1 placed, multiple stakes winning dam. I'm with Tommy Joe in this spot, and I don't mind the Pletcher stablemate as well as a bomb, but I do also want to give a shout to Percy's Bar, great name, named after the Kentucky racing moving locale for the Hat Creek Racing Team. This one undefeated, won that listed debutante. The figure wasn't huge, but the debut run looks like really good form, and this horse appears to be working well. I'm going to include among the contenders, and then just quickly, I'll make the case for the 7, Steer Clear.
Steer Clear won yesterday.
I'm sorry. I hate it when I do that.
Yeah, no, I've done it myself, but it was a good call because you won yesterday.
Well, there you go. It was obviously sitting on a race. being close to the fast pace last time, but that's a guest fail for which I apologize.
No, as I say, I've done it as many times as well.
Brain freeze.
I'm gonna toss out also the fact that 21st Century Racing. I went and looked. 4 of the Brightwork had a nice record coming into this race a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But 4 of the last 5 runners have come out of a lone start at Saratoga in July, and that's Tommy Joe as well. But I just found it interesting, as I say, 21st Century Racing, you come into the Grade 1 with just the maiden breaker or the maiden try under your belt. All right, 12th race today, optional claimer, non-winners are 2 other than 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, this is another one. End of the day, we're fighting fatigue at this point, but we're going to keep firing even after the stakes races. I thought that the 7, what you're talking about, was going to get the best trip potentially in here. I think could be closer than was last time. We'll get those previous races, and I think we'll be able to do a lot better from a more positive position. My case for that one was as simple as that. The 4 Surveillance was another one that I thought made sense. I moved into what I thought was the fastest part of that race last time, and could be able to improve again with maybe a little bit more of an even run through. And then Lock and Key was another I thought made sense, getting off the turf and back to the dirt sprinting.
And I use Surveillance on top, 4, 8, 7, and 5. Linda Rice makes clever moves at the end of the meet, it seems like, and class moves, and this one is getting a class move that I think could be beneficial. Surveillance on top. Victory Way in the second spot off a nice second place finish last time. Belmont Stakes weekend up here, so a little bit of a layoff, but it's Bill Mott, comes in with a couple of decent workouts, and then what you're talking about in the third spot. Tossed in a clunker last time as the beaten favorite in the Morrissey. I think the horse is clearly better than that. I will look for a rebound, 4, 8, 7, and 5, and race number 13 scheduled to go off about 6:45 tonight. We'll wrap things up. Allowance non-winners are 1 other than a mile and a 16th on the grass, and I have it 5, 11, 12, and 8. I'm going to put Debt Limit on top, and Debt Limit is my dark horse play of the day. And I will admit, a little embarrassed. Dark horse, I'm shopping for a price usually. I just have been swinging and not hitting the way I want to. So I went for maybe a more logical horse just to see if we can get one in the winner's circle this last weekend. Debt Limit offers a little bit of value because it's a large field, but it's Chad, it's Klarovich, will take some action, clearly. But I do think this horse is very live. They had the blinkers today of a nice try last time. I think this horse is a real player. And again, Dark Horse play of the day brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway in downtown Saratoga. And as I say, this is not a typical Dark Horse odds-wise. We'll just see if we can get back on the beam over the last 3 days here. Debt Limit, race 13, horse 5, Debt Limit, our Dark Horse play of the day. Second spot, Laurel Valley, comes in off a few races where the horse showed some speed before getting caught. But that speed could be a little bit interesting today. They'll have to use it from the outside, I would think, in Main Beach. Similar scenario that I'm a little concerned about the post position, but I think the Chad Brown runner is otherwise a player. 5, 11, 12, and 8.
I'm probably being too much of a wise guy not listing your Debt Limit among the picks, but it just felt like there were some interesting ones to choose here. Main Beach, you're going to have to work out a trip from that outside post, no doubt about it, but has the right man in the irons in Flavian Pratt to do so. I thought with a blend of tactical speed and finish, might be able to get into a good mid-pack spot. I think there's going to be enough pace in here to set it up for a closer. I'll go to Ramblin' Wreck, who I have listed third, second, just because that's the case for that one as well. Probably an opportunity to maybe save some ground to get the right inside-out kind of closing trip with the speed signed on. That one made sense. And then I didn't want to forget about a runner like Candytown, another one who's second off the layoff, probably supposed to move up off that run, and I think should be able to be maybe in an attacking position just behind the speed and be able to have a good flying late run as well. 12, 2, and 6.
Another with a jock coming, Edgar Zayas coming up from
Florida.
Taking advantage of the big guys going out of town.
Fun to see, really.
Yeah,
I mean, you can look at it either way. Oh, I wish that my favorite, the big guys were here. It's also great to see these folks who work hard and deliver great rides day in, day out, getting a shot.
Yeah. Pete, great job. Thanks for coming in, subbing for Anthony Mormino. Had to be out of town today. He'll be back tomorrow. But before we let you go, just again, tout In the Money Media. And I'm assuming if people go, you recorded things this week looking at the big stakes action.
Oh, yeah. If there's an opportunity at some point, we've got loads of free written content, free tips and analysis every day, multiple circuits, inthemoneypodcast.com. Great team of people who are out there betting every day, a lot like you guys are. And then if you like to listen to podcasts, In the Money Players Podcast, wherever you get your pods, and the fastest growing segment of our network, the In the Money Media YouTube channel as well. We've got videos there for Kentucky Downs and for Saratoga and for Del Mar.
Very good. Pete, again, thanks, and good luck today.
Thanks, my friend.
All right, we'll wrap it up for the Handicappers Report. Stay tuned, however. Coming up next, Racing Across America, Callie Francois is in the house. We'll see her take piece with Miguel Clement. We'll also do a little handicapping, and then a little bit later on, Tom Morley will jump in after a big day yesterday. So stay tuned. That's up next.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the